And to Nixon's chagrin, that means like anger and being upset. All of this is happening as a new presidential election's rolling up in 1972. So Nixon has to convince people that even though we have more people than ever in the anti-war movement, and even though with the Pentagon Papers there's a real distrust in government, he has to convince people to vote with him and vote for him so that America can get out peace with honor. And believe it or not, he wins. He wins. The Democratic candidate at the time, a guy named George McGovern, he is campaigning strongly anti-war. And it's a tight race. And Nixon is criticized over the Pentagon Papers. He's criticized over Cambodia and Laos. He's criticized. But what Nixon argues is that America has the military might to end this war on her terms, and that these deaths should not have been for nothing. And as October approaches and election day approaches in November, Richard Nixon says this. He says, "Peace is at hand." We're close to winning, folks, in 1972. We are close to being out. Negotiations were almost there. And they were until November of 1972. Right when Nixon is getting elected, the North Vietnamese walk away from the negotiations, and America is left going, we just said that this was going to be over, so you got to come back and finish negotiating with us. And the North Vietnamese are like, I don't think so. So Nixon says, bring it. To bring them back to the table, Nixon authorizes something called Operation Linebacker 2. And for 11 days straight, America bombs the bejesus out of North Vietnam. And I don't mean just a little bit. You ever heard the phrase carpet bombing? When you drop so many bombs, it's like an entire carpet of destroyed land from one side of the country to the other. Carpet bombing, yeah, that's where they get this idea from. That idea that bomb them back into the Stone Age, this is where it comes from, that saying. We drop thousands of tons of bombs on Vietnam, 24 hours a day, 11 days straight. These two images right here that I'm blowing up for you, these are the main streets and markets of the capital of North Vietnam at the time, a place called Hanoi. That's nothing left. I mean, it's completely and utterly destroyed. I mean, there's nothing left. Zero, zip, zilch, nada. So the North Vietnamese are convinced to come back to the table and to pursue negotiations, and we do get a settled peace, and we are out. 1973. The final Americans finally leave in 1975, but the war technically ends in 1973 for us, although we're not all the way out until 1975. In other words, we're looking at 10 years from when a first-time American combat troops arrive to the last time that we end up leaving. And prior to Afghanistan, this was our longest war that we'd ever seen.